There is an old saying, money cannot buy happiness. Now, some people, they will respond to that by saying, only people with money say things like that. Well, yeah, you're absolutely right, because people with money know money can't buy happiness. Money can make life easier, money can ease stress in certain areas of your life, but if you're a miserable person when you're broke, if you're a miserable person making $60,000 a year, you are going to be miserable making $600,000 a year or $6 million a year. Money does not change who you are. Money amplifies who you already are. Many of the super wealthy who find themselves in the public eye or the mainstream, they don't become addicted to the money. You could be anonymous Andy and still make millions of dollars. Just look at Anderson Cooper. He lives the rich life, and fewer people recognize him publicly because no one watches his disastrous show on primetime and CNN. These people are not addicted to the money. They are addicted to the fame. They're addicted to the attention. It is not equivalent to a drug. It is a drug. They crave the acceptance. They crave the attention. For decades, Howard Stern built his career by going after celebrities and politicians. He fought against the FCC. He fought against the federal government, battling them for his right to speak freely. Howard Stern, he was a crusader. He marketed himself as the man of the people. Blue-collar people, white-collar people, black people, white people, they were all drawn to Howard Stern. Even people who hated him, people who thought he was detestable, they listened to him on the radio every day. During his peak in the 90s, Howard Stern was second only to Rush Limbaugh as the most listened to radio program in the country. This dude had nuclear heat in a good way. He was entertaining. People tuned in waiting to hear what he would say next. But there was just one small problem. There's another old saying, the truth shall come to the light. Howard Stern was able to hide it well for about 30 years, but he eventually exposed himself. The truth is, Howard Stern is a fraud. The same celebrities and politicians he built his career attacking are the same people that he secretly wanted to be accepted by. He was kind of like the elementary school boy who has the crush on a girl. How does he get her attention? He makes jokes about her, he throws rocks at her on the playground, pushes her off the swing set. Howard Stern, he tried to get the attention of public figures by attacking them and making jokes about them. When that didn't work, he started kissing their ass. As a result, he lost the millions of people who were responsible for making him a household name. Now, I don't like to use the term sellout, but if you were to define a sellout, it would definitely be Howard Stern. Before he became a recluse, before he was traumatized by endless rounds of Fauci fucking, Howard Stern was a regular at Madison Square Garden. He was often spotted sitting courtside at Knicks games next to Chris Rock or Tracy Morgan. Now, of course, his courtside seats, they have now been given to another celebrity who's not afraid to come out in public. Earlier this week on his radio show that has fallen into the abyss of irrelevancy, Howard Stern was talking about all the celebrities attending playoff games in Madison Square Garden. He decided to frame the conversation around one of the classic woke boner words favored by the wanker spankers, mythical racism. Yeah. Mythical racism. And trust me, if there is ever a reason to use the term mythical racism, this is the one. Howard Stern got into his feelings and started complaining about his lack of acceptance from NBA players. I see Julius Randle showing woke love to Spike Lee. I see Jalen Brunson giving handshakes to Tracy Morgan. I see LeBron James sharing the woke wiener with Donnie Lemon. None of these sexy male birthing persons pay any attention to me. It's like I am invisible. I'm Howard Stern, damn it. I drive a Dodge Stratus. Listen to Howard Stern explain why he believes NBA players ignore him.
And the black players won't come over and say hello to me, but they go over to Spike Lee or they go.
They don't acknowledge you at all?
No, I'll be sitting next to Tracy Morgan or Chris Rock. You know, they seat you where they seat you. And a lot of times when I'm there, I'm next to Tracy Morgan, who is, so funny. And he's sitting there and like, couple of the players will come over. They like give him that bro shake and stuff. And I'm like, these guys should hug me too. I mean, what am I? I mean, I grew up in a black neighborhood. You know what I mean? I mean, they should know that. But I get ignored. The only guys who come up and
that is?
I think because I'm a white guy.
You think it's a racial thing?
It's gotta
sure they talk
be.
to some white people.
No,
They
not that I
must.
saw. I want them to. I want them to talk to me. I want them to come up and go, "Hey, Howard, I'm a fan of the show," or something. But no, I don't get that. And you know who comes up to me sometimes? The referees. Like
Oh,
like
wow.
yeah. The white guys and black guys. You know, fame to me is very important. I'll admit it. I like people to recognize me.
Well,
at
they
the
might
game.
not. They might be recognizing you, just not speaking to you.
Yeah, maybe they don't like me. I don't know. I'd like to think it's a white thing, not my personality.
This is reverse racism! The brothers don't show me love because they think I'm the evil white man. I grew up in Roosevelt, Long Island. I'm down with the brothers. I hate my lack of melanin. This dude is so out of touch. First of all, let me explain real quick why NBA players aren't going up to Howard Stern. Then we'll dive into his demise. Howard Stern mentioned that referees of all races recognize him at games and give him nice, pleasant woke hugs. Now, according to his own website, 75% of his audience is between the age of 25 and 54. I find that hard to believe. That might have been the case 15, 20 years ago, but I find that hard to believe in 2023. But for the purposes of this argument, we're going to go with those numbers. 85% of his audience chooses to identify as the evil white man. The average age of an NBA referee, 46 years old. Average age of an NBA player, 26 years old. Do I need to go through the racial demographics of the NBA for you? Yeah, didn't think so. Are you starting to come to the point? The vast majority of NBA players, not only are they not listening to Howard Stern, they've probably never heard of him. When Howard Stern was at his peak, most of these NBA players weren't even born. This dude's been on satellite radio since 2006. Now, while he maintained his relevancy for the first 5, maybe 6 years, Howard Stern has been irrelevant for over a decade. Just think about it. How often do you see articles about Howard Stern? How often does he make headlines for something radical that happened on his radio show? This dude used to be a printing press for the mainstream media. Howard Stern was a national topic of conversation on a daily basis. That hasn't been the case for a very, very long time. But if you look at this on a deeper level, this is not really about NBA players not recognizing or accepting Howard Stern. They're just the ones he decided to blame. This is really about normal people no longer caring about Howard Stern. This is about normal people not paying attention to Howard Stern. This dude has a fragile ego. Did you notice Robin Quivers catch herself in that clip? Did you notice that? Towards the end of the clip, Robin Quivers is about to say, maybe they don't recognize you. She stops herself and says, they might recognize you, they're just not speaking to you. She is protecting Howard's ego. They don't recognize him. More importantly, they don't relate to him. How in the hell can a 21-year-old NBA player relate to Howard Stern? This dude's 70 years old. In a way, I actually feel bad for him. I grew up listening to Howard Stern. He was an absolute legend in the 90s. I followed him to satellite radio in 2006. His first few years on Sirius, the show was great. But as he got older, things started to change. Things started to fall apart. Howard Stern lost touch with his audience. Artie Lang left the show, which, to be fair, Howard had absolutely no control over that. I mean, the dude tried to take his own life. He was heavily addicted to heroin. Howard ends up hiring Marcy Turk, and that is when the show really took a nosedive. Marcy Turk turned Howard Stern into someone who would be more appealing to celebrities. Instead of interviewing porn stars, he's interviewing mainstream celebrities. Instead of bringing on 2 lesbians and asking them about their sex life, he's interviewing celebrity Gay Gayerson, asking about his sex life. Thing is, Marcy Turk's vision of Howard Stern, it came to fruition. It worked. Howard Stern did become more appealing to celebrities. For years, mainstream public figures, they refused to go on his show. Today, he can book any celebrity that he wants, but nothing in life is free. In exchange for his acceptance into Hollywood, Howard Stern had to give up the one thing that maintained his relevancy for so many decades: his audience. His audience used to consist of, I would call them upper middle class people, professionals, executives, business owners, managers. Those people are long gone. Hollywood Howie, he ran them off years ago. Today, his audience consists of woke shitfucks. I have not listened to Howard Stern in years. I know for a long time he struggled with his self-esteem, struggled with his ego. Howard Stern had all the success. He had all the money in the world, and yet he was still miserable. His entire life, he has been chasing happiness. Now, this is just speculation on my part. It's educated speculation from 20 years listening to his show. But maybe Howard Stern thought if he were finally accepted by Hollywood, if he were finally accepted into the woke movement, he would finally be content. He would finally be happy. As you heard in that clip, he's still miserable. You heard him say it himself. Fame is very important to me. You know who says some shit like that? Someone who is searching for happiness. Howard Stern is at the tail end of his career, a career many people believe should have ended years ago. His audience is dwindling. His influence has all but diminished. He is no longer relevant. People who listened for decades have left him for other podcasters, a medium which, by the way, Howard Stern said would never take off. He is so out of touch with his audience. He's so out of touch with normal people, middle America. The good news is, he's definitely in touch with the wanker spankers at Woke United Methodist, but they don't give a shit about him either. Howard Stern is a fraud. He became the person he always promised he never would become. This legacy that he spent a lifetime building has been destroyed in a matter of 3 years. But give me your thoughts. Howard Stern practically begging NBA players for acceptance. Hell, he is begging for acceptance, period. Do you think Howard Stern has destroyed his own legacy? You let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.